Hello everybody and welcome to the general chaos of the coffee table this morning, where we are going to be carrying on the theme of looking at the figures I received in the box a few weeks ago. Today we're going to be having a quick look at Wuerhosaurus, and it will be a very quick look indeed, because it turns out that for all this is a highly popularised stegosaurid, there's actually very little known about it. There's very few remains, so I can't really say a huge deal about the actual physical anatomy of this figure. I only have a few figures of the genus, so I've only really got these ones to compare. There is a fantastically colourful one that's been released recently by PNSO, and that's one that's definitely on the list to pick up. And of course that one's slightly different to these ones in terms of the anatomy and the coloration as well. But let's go ahead and have a quick look at these ones. First up, I do have PNSO's small one, which came in the parcels. And as you can see, this particular version is fairly typical stegosaurid anatomy. The plates are a little higher on this one, they're still squared off. The legs are quite long as well. And obviously with this being a mini, there's only so much you can do in terms of your anatomical accuracy, but it's a nice little representation of the genus. Really, what I wanted to do was have a good look at Howlong Good's beautiful figures here, because I now have both colour variants, and they're absolutely gorgeous. They're a fantastic take on this particular genus, and really it's just a case of colour preference, whether you prefer your greens or your bluey greys. They're almost a sort of purple tone here. Let's have a closer look at the sculpt of these figures. So first off, you can see that they've given this figure a very traditional narrow stegosaurid head. They haven't gone for the sort of deeper skull that the likes of its far older relative Hesperosaurus had. And it's a bit difficult to see because there's no dark wash, but you can really see that there's a lot of very fine pebbly detail in the skin and in amongst these fine wrinkles and folds. You can see there's a little ear canal there and the nostril on the head. If I have a look underneath the neck, you can see that there is some dermal armour on the throat, but it's not overt. It's large, flat, tabulate scales, which merge into these far smaller ones on the neck. Some lovely wrinkling and folding on the body here, and also these larger nodules scattered randomly throughout the skin, which is known from stegosaurid skin. You can also see how beautifully sculpted these plates are. Now these plates are a little bit controversial because the remains of Wuerhosaurus, there's two known species and they're so fragmentary, and it's implied that these plates are actually broken and they would have been far higher than this. Now Howlong Good have extended the keratin on the plates beautifully, so you've got a sort of spiked ridged edge, which is nice to see. You can see the scales at the base of the plates are more defined and larger, so it really looks like it's emerging from the skin here. It's beautifully done. You can see how nice the way the colour blending is going on those plates as well. The skin is quite finely wrinkled, which gives the impression that it's quite a fine skin, for all it's quite heavily armoured. And up the limbs here, you can see there's no overtly bulging musculature or anything like that. You can see the anatomy of the feet is correct, so you've got the 5 toes on here, on each foot. 2, 4, 5, right there. And also, if we turn the figure upside down here, the remains of Wuerhosaurus that are known show that it had a very broad pelvis and a short trunk, and that implies a very broad belly and short legs. And you can really see this depicted very nicely here. It's really well done. And you can see the sort of hedged abets. It's got shorter legs than most stegosaurids, but they're not as short as the Howlong Good's version, the PNSO version. Up the leg, you can see there's a bit of musculature along the tail, and that they've chosen to give it 4 spikes on what is known as the thagomizer, and that seems to have got into the general literature, and is how, you know, the weapon on the end of thyreophore tails is now sort of known generally. Really nicely done figure. Absolutely gorgeous. No shrink wrapping or anything, very well fleshed, small wrinkles and lines, showing the animal moving. Nice colour blending going on. Howlong Good really are experts at that. Nicely painted nails, but like I say, not on the outer 2 toes here. Absolutely gorgeous. So really, with the Howlin' Good versions, it's just a case of which colour variant you prefer. I don't think I've got a favourite. I think I absolutely adore both of these. These, of course, were both gifted to me. You can see that these two share pretty much the same pattern, just in different colours. Quite often, Howlin' Good figures have slightly different patterns as well as different colour variations. You can also see that they've staggered the plates, as Stegosaurus is traditionally restored. And in this case, there's a bit of a gap along the back. Sometimes Stegosaurus is restored with the plates very close together, so almost emerging from a central point along the spine. But this really is a very, very nice little figure. They are the exact same sculpt. They've got all the anatomy you'd expect. The only other Wuerhosaurus I have is also gifted to me very kindly, and this is a Vitae figure, and of course this is a very much different style sculpturally. This one's got a slightly larger head and a shorter neck and the longer legs. The spines here, the plates, are parallel. It's also been depicted with big spines over the shoulders. This isn't known for Wuerhosaurus, and I'm not entirely sure it's implied either. But it's a nice touch, it's nice to see. There's plenty of stegosaurids which did have large spines over the shoulders, like this gorgeous collector Gigantspinosaurus here, which I think is based on Greg Paul's skeletal restoration of this animal. The Vitae sculpt, as you can see, is very fine. The paintwork's more traditional stegosaurid colours. It's got some interesting detailing on it here, which is just purely ornamental and purely speculative. It's not an easy figure to get hold of anymore. It's just interesting to see how two different sculptors have approached the same creature. And it'd be different again if I had the PNSO version to hand to show you that. But overall, I'd really say that these Howlin' Good figures are massively impressive, as most figures that Howlin' Good do are. I particularly appreciate the fact that they release a lot of ornithischians and also a lot of sauropods, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they bring out in the future. I hope you've enjoyed having a quick look at these figures with me, and I hope to see you in the next video.